Hey guys, so in this particular video, I'll be giving you hints on how you can get those very high scores in JAMB. When I'm talking about high score, I'm talking about from 300 to 350. You see, I always tell my students that when it comes to JAMB examination, it's not about hard work. It is about smart work and strategic work. And I'm going to be giving you step-by-step principles to follow if you want to score 300 to 350. Now, I am not talking as a student, I'm talking as a teacher who has been able to pass out students with very high JAMB scores. I'm talking about 300, 320, and even 340. You get? Now, the first thing you need to do, you see, the way JAMB works in a strategic way, and most people do not know. When studying for JAMB examination, you are only there to pass the examination. You are not a professor. So most people just study hard, read all the textbook, read everything in the textbook. It's good, but it would require a larger amount of time to cover your textbooks and get the required score you need to gain admission. Now, the first thing I will talk about, the first and most important thing when it comes to JAMB examination is JAMB syllabus. That's number one. Number one, JAMB syllabus. Now, every year, JAMB gives us new syllabus, right? Now, when they give you a syllabus, it's expected that you go through the syllabus. I'll be giving you some hints. Most students, when they look at the syllabus, they just go through the topic and they just think that's the only thing they should go through. But in actual fact, that's not the only thing they should go through. That's not the only thing they should study. Now, the first thing you need to do is to download the JAMB syllabus. The JAMB syllabus contains what the JAMB exam body will bring out, right? Will set for their forthcoming examination. So the JAMB syllabus gives you an expo of what you should expect in their exams. Now, when you download the JAMB syllabus, I would advise that you print it out, right? You print it out. Why I'm saying you should print it out is because you would be comparing it with other documents, with your textbooks and other documents I'm going to be mentioning. Now, when you download um, your JAMB syllabus, you can download it at jamb.gov.ng. When you download the JAMB syllabus, the current one, you print it out. You have a hard copy, not a soft copy, a hard copy, so you can compare. The second thing you need to do is to start studying the syllabus. Now, you study the syllabus strategically. For example, when you pick the topic, you look at the other side because the JAMB syllabus contains the content, the topics, and the objectives. The objectives is on the other side. Now, when you look at the topic, you look at the objectives. Each of those objectives are what your examiner expects you to know. So you will see things like the students is supposed to know this, is supposed to do this, is supposed. So those are the things you are targeting, and not even the topic. Those are the things we are targeting. You are going to be reading to fulfill those objectives. It is very important. If you know this, then just know that you're going to score very high in JAMB. So you look at the topic, then you look at the objectives. You start reading in accordance to each of the objectives. Now, the next thing that you should do, which is number two, is comparing syllables. Now, when you download the syllabus for 2026 or 2025, you compare the two documents. There's always changes, right, made in the different years. What is in 2025 that is not in 2026? Or what is in 2020? What is in 2025 that is also in 2026? And what are the new things that they added in the 2026 JAMB syllabus? That is very important. Now, if you can target or know the new things that were added to the new current syllabus, take that very, very serious. Do you know why? JAMB will always, it is a must, they will always set questions from that topic or that objective. So when you see things that are added newly to a syllabus, please take it very seriously because questions must come out from there. They added it because they want to set questions from there. So if they know that they are not going to set questions from there, what's the essence of adding it there? So they added it there because at least one or two questions will come out from that new development, that new thing that they have added, that new topic or that new objective that they have added to the current JAMB syllabus. Number three, number three is you check out for highly repeated questions. There are some questions that you must see in every JAMB. And how do you know this? Now you have to now incorporate the second document, which is your past question papers. So if you are reviewing like 10 years, let's assume 2015 to 2025, you would check out for, this could take some time, but you could check out for um, the most repeated questions there and note them. You will notice that there is a particular question that by the time you compare for the 10 years, we have more than 50% of that particular question, of that particular topic coming out. So you should take that topic very serious. It's a marker. So you should take it very serious. Now, the next thing I'm talking about is textbook. Now, reading your textbook doesn't have to be burden, doesn't have to be a burden, right? You read your textbook according to the JAMB syllabus, according to the objectives of the JAMB syllabus. And this is what you do. When you pick past questions, when you pick your past question and you answer, you don't just go ahead to answer past questions just like that. You redirect the past questions to your textbook. So if you're answering a question on, let's assume, cell and its environment, and a question came out on cell and its environment in the past question, what you do is that you now take that particular question to your textbook and answer all the questions related to cell and its environment. Now, what this does is that it's going to give you a holistic view. It's going to give you an understanding of everything about that particular topic. So you don't just pick the past question and start answering. You pick the past question and you match it with your textbook. Make sure that if you are answering those questions, you are also answering the ones in your textbooks, right? So you don't just answer the one in the past question, you answer the ones in the textbook. You answer all the questions related to that particular question. Now, this will give you a broader understanding of the topic from different angles. So you are seeing the question, you are answering the questions from different angles, and there's no way the question will pop up in JAM that you won't be able to answer. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is past question review. I think I've mentioned it. Past questions review. You can review 10 years and you review smartly. Okay, you review according to your textbook. So when you pick a particular question, you answer the question. Don't assume that that is the only pattern or way the question can come. When you pick the question, you answer that particular question, then you refer to your textbook and look at the question. Most of the textbook, especially Michael MC, which is essential biology, they give some exams question, repeated WAEC, JAMB questions at the end of the topic. So you pick the topic, go to the textbook and answer all the questions that is associated with that particular topic. This will give you a broader view. It makes you know that, oh, I am prepared for JAMB and I have answered um, everything concerning this particular question. Now, what this does is that it's going to give you confidence and it's going to help you to read in a very short time. So instead of going to read every topic in the textbook, your JAM syllabus is very important. Your JAM syllabus is very important. And when you are reading, don't just go ahead to read everything in the topic. Read the objectives. The objectives. Make sure you read to fulfill the objective. Now, when you have read, you go back to your JAM syllabus and check if you can fulfill that objective. So if your objective is, let's assume, students should be able to list the bones of the axial skeleton. So you go to your textbook and you read the axial skeleton and you come back to your objective and you check if you can actually list the bones of the axial skeleton. If you can, then you tick that particular objective, that you have been able to satisfy that objective. So what you do is you read, you come to the objective, you check if you are able to satisfy that objective. If you have fulfilled that objective, then you tick, and you discover that between few weeks, right? Few weeks, you must have ticked almost everything in the objective, and this gives you um confidence that you have answered everything in the JAMB syllabus. And this is a trick I use for my students. That's why they come out with very high grades. So it is not rocket science. It is not about hard work. It's not about reading everything. It's about reading strategically according to JAMB syllabus. So I wish you well in your JAMB. If you are watching this video for the first time, if you're watching me for the first time, I do a lot of medical, health, and life science lectures here. I don't just, I'm not confined to only biology, WAEC, and JAMB. I also do some medical lectures. You can check out my page, and please help me subscribe to my channel so that you get notification on when um, new videos drop, because I'm going to be doing series of videos, especially now that we are in the WAEC, NECO, and JAM exam period. So thank you, and see you in my next video.